We're back here for the training camp series, 92 WICB. Parker Hollendoner, Cam Manna here. Now we get to talk with head coach Michael Toerper. Coach, great to see you back here on the South Hill. How are you feeling after what's been just about a week of training camp with your guys?
I'm feeling like you guys are a professional operation here, right? Kay Adams and company better start taking notes.
Kay Adams.
You guys do it right, all right? You guys do it right over here. This is awesome. This feels like an NFL training camp.
Always appreciate that, Coach. Cam?
Talk about just this first week of practice and having a joint practice tomorrow. How cool is that to finally be able to hit pads with another team?
Yeah, it's quick, right?
Yeah.
It's quick. A week in, and here we are going against a different opponent. So certainly for us, it speeds up the install, trying to get prepared to play a different opponent. But they have been a great partner in that joint practice since I was here the first time. Since 2017, we've been scrimmaging with Lycoming or joint practicing with Lycoming. Mike Clark, their head coach, is an exceptional guy, and those guys are tough players and really, really good work for us. And having it up here in Butterfield Stadium will be great. Everybody on the team is going to get some work, and really at this point in camp, we start to see guys that are really gaining momentum and gaining strides as they continue to learn this offense, this defense, and our special teams concepts.
Speaking of being here at beautiful Butterfield Stadium, you get a lot more home games this year. You were on the road a lot last season, and you were far away a lot last season. Is anything different? Is it better getting to have a couple more home stands this year, or is it just the same for you?
No, it's definitely better. I would be lying if I said it's not better. When you go into a game or a season where you have 6 road games and there's a lot of bus time, especially with us going to New England and down to the DMV a few times. As a head coach, you're like, yeah, road warriors, right? You kind of lean into it any way you possibly can. But certainly we love being here with our families, with the home crowd, with you guys around. There's so much that comes with playing at home that you enjoy, like just the familiarity of the pregame warm-up and where you are and what your locker room looks like and feels like. There's just a lot there that you don't really think about, but certainly goes into just being prepared to play.
I'll miss the week 1 jokes from Baltimore between the two of you guys about
we'll still talk Oriole baseball.
Oh yeah, big time.
Big stretch coming out.
It's been a rough
hey,
last
the Yanks
month.
are there.
I was a big Yankees fan, so he texts me the screenshots and texts me the updates of the standings all the time. So
close.
You don't want to hear the car banter between the two of us. Cam, the Yanks fan.
Another time.
It's rough.
This first week right now, when it's the first day of training camp, you finally get the pads going. These 2 weeks pretty much, what's the biggest thing that you want to see from this group and just the growth into September?
Yeah, we talk about our intentions for training camp. First and foremost is coming together as a team. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but Ben Marinaccio, you guys asked him over the summertime about him being able to name all the freshmen. Well,
did he?
Yeah, 5 days in, he named all 34 for 34 first and last names. So
wow,
we're doing a great job of getting to know each other. And each year, this is my 16th season coaching college football, and each team has its own DNA. And, those fibers are built over these 3 weeks. So I think our guys understand that we're coming together personally, but also from a football perspective, we've got to make sure that we begin to become schematically competent and situationally aware. And that's really what we start to shift our focus on now that we're a week through training camp. We got our base down and distance offense and defense pretty much in, and now we start to focus on that situational football, third down, red zone, goal line, backed up, end of game, end of half type things.
You talked about the 32 freshmen, and more than 2/3 of your roster at this point is made up of underclassmen, younger guys who are just kind of infusing this team with talent. What have you been trying to instill in those younger guys specifically? Like, what is your bomber mindset when they're starting out in their first or second training camp? Maybe their first as a starter.
100%. I think I can only say so much. It only goes so far with me. It's got to be a player-driven team. And I think our older guys understand the responsibility that they have to instill our culture into them, right? And the guys that came before them, the A.J. Winkfields, the Ant Robinsons, the Jake Villanuevas, all those guys that came before, and all the leadership and the foundation that they set, particularly for the last 2 seasons, they have to make sure that it just doesn't happen, right? We go into this season, and we've had some decent success, all right, but there were times there, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, the year I wasn't here, they were very close. They were knocking on that door, and there was some pain that went along with that. And through that pain is when you really start to sharpen your edge, and and you were just so motivated to work every day because you want something you never had. Now, how do we do that again now when we win back-to-back Liberty League championships? That's my challenge to them, and getting these freshmen to be as hungry as those guys were back in 2022. So that's our challenge, and that's something that we continue to work on.
When you bring all these guys in for the first week of training camp, it's obviously a lot of football, but where do the coaches and the players kind of get that team bonding acclimated? Is there anything that fun that is happening with the coaches? Do you guys bring, the team down to Cayuga Lake or anything like that?
No, we don't have time for all that. Classes start on Monday. You guys know that. I wish we could, man. I'd love to go off somewhere and do some, the team bonding stuff, like that. Like go to the lake and get some kayaks out and just race on the lake, whatever it might be. You're always up for something fun, but we got a limited amount of time here. And certainly the team bonding comes. Our team meetings are electric. We start off with a competition every night, whether it's a college football logo competition. Last night we had NCAA 25 on the PS5 up. And
can we get the Bombers in NCAA 25?
I think somebody downloaded that. I don't know if it's the right roster, but the logo's there. They had it up playing Alabama the other day, which is pretty good.
Did they win?
I don't know. I didn't stick around for the whole game, but I imagine they found a way to win.
Well, speaking of past rosters, past Bombers, you mentioned Jake Villanueva. He's now playing south of the border. He's playing pro. Derek Sluka now playing. He's now currently in training camp with the Colts. Got a couple touches in that last preseason game. Yeah. Have you had any contact with those guys? Just stepping outside. Have you been in touch with them as they emerge as pro players?
Oh, for sure. I love keeping in touch with those guys. Even Kenny Bradley, which you guys might not even know about, who was a senior here in 2017. Him and Billy both played against each other down south of the border. We had that thing streamed on YouTube and here in Sriracha. So our guys that are going on to play professionally, we're so proud of them and love that we can continue to talk to people about you can have it all here. You do not need to sacrifice anything when you come to Ithaca to play football for the Bombers. You can get a great education. You can play high-level competitive championship football, and if you're that good, they're going to find you. Right, and Sluka's a great example of it. Right, I always joke now, how smart of a coach am I? Right, the guy's playing wide receiver in the NFL. I had him out here playing safety, but we talk, regularly. A few times a week, we'll be texting back and forth with each other, and he's keeping that one day at a time mindset. All the things we talk about here as a player, now he's doing it professionally, and I think you look at him out there on the field, he looks the part, and it's just so cool to watch him live his dream, and to have. A front row view of that, it makes me really proud of all the work that he's put in. That stuff didn't happen on purpose, right? Or it just didn't happen overnight. He went out there and he worked for it.
Coach, too, when you brought up a tiny bit about talking about players that you can't have the ability to make that next step if you want to play pro football, to guys that want to play at the college football level that maybe are going to be a rising freshman or sophomore. What do you tell those guys about saying that D3 football is not just one step of 4 years, you can go to that next step?
Yeah, it's all up to you, right? Obviously, there's God-given ability that comes into play and metrics and things like that, but really, Derek is a perfect example of somebody that came from a small town here in New York, was under-recruited, didn't know a lot about the recruiting process, went to community, we recruited him here when I was here the first time, and he was like, well, I can't afford to go to Ithaca right now, so I'm going to go to community college, get my associate's degree for a year, play hoop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out here, learned how to play college football for a year, and then really started coming to his own 2022 season, but he wouldn't be where he is today if he didn't work tirelessly day after day after day, consistently, and showed up with a purpose. So it's really just about putting the everyday work in, having a plan, working that plan, believing in yourself, and then going out, and when the opportunity arises, man, just make the most of it. Make the reps count. And that's what he's doing right now for the Colts. I can't wait to see what happens with him.
All right, Coach, we do have to look ahead to the season that is a little under 2 weeks away. Johns Hopkins coming here to start the year. What are you looking for through this last stretch of practices? You've got joint practices. What is the next step you want to see from this entire team before they get ready to play one of the best in the nation?
Yeah, for sure. I think we have a great camp over the next few weeks. We've got Lycoming tomorrow as a joint practice. We go down to Susquehanna next week, and we have a scrimmage against them on Thursday. 3 days later, we have a JV game against Cortland over there in enemy territory, right? So we're going to get a lot of football to be played. And we have actually the smallest roster we've had here in some time with 110 guys. So managing it as coaches, because these guys can only play in 2 of those 3 scrimmages, is really important from a personnel standpoint. But then also our guys just being able to line up and play fast and adjust, right? Those first couple games that are out of conference, right? I don't want to say they're exhibition games, but they're games that we're still learning about ourselves, right? But going into that game, we have to be sharp. We have to play smart. We understand that Johns Hopkins team is going to be incredibly disciplined. They understand how to play the game. They understand the nuances of the game. They have competitive stamina. They have confidence, right? So we didn't match that last year. So we need to make sure that over these next few weeks, we become so situationally aware. We really work on our competitive stamina, meaning when we're not having a great practice offensively, defensively, special teams wise, that we can bring it back and finish that practice strong. It's not about how you are acting and how you are performing when things are going well. But we know when we play these better teams, there's going to be instances in the game that the breaks of the game aren't going well for us. So we can't let up in those moments. We got to put on more steam, and we got to finish the right way. So that's what I'm looking for over the next few weeks. The best thing about it is we're going to play a lot of football, and it's building up to these joint practices and scrimmages along the way.
And that game is right here. What makes this place so tough to play in?
Just, people say in the past it was the grass, right? And maybe that grass certainly did have something to do with the home field advantage, being the uniqueness of the fact that most people are on turf. But when you come up here to the South Hill, it's a very unique place, and the fans are into it. And I challenge the fans this year to be even more into it. I want them to be loud. I want them to understand the moments of the game where we really need them behind us. And I just think that this is a really unique spot, right? You get the clouds rolling in. You don't know what type of weather it's going to be. The wind is definitely going to be blowing. So it's just a really unique spot. They're sitting out there at Hill in the locker room looking out in the lake, getting hypnotized by the lake pregame. So maybe that has something to do with it. But this is a special place. Butterfield Stadium has an aura around it, whether it's grass or turf, that, there's been some incredible football games and some incredible football teams that have played in this place. So I don't know if that's, helps us out or not, but certainly our guys believe that. So if you believe it, then it is real.
Coach, you talked about the fans here at Butterfield, them being more involved, and just I kind of want to ask you a little more fun, so for a little bit of advice, a little bit of a sneak peek for fans and all of us who love watching Bomber football. What should we be looking for that we maybe didn't see in the past? What can we expect that is new about this team that is so much younger?
Every team is unique, and I don't know if there's something that is going to be different that you should look for, but hopefully we are living up to the standard of what we set, right? And then going to try and blow the roof off of it. That's what I'm looking for our guys, and I hope you guys as fans are looking for that as well. We're pleased with the success that we've had over the last season, but we're certainly not satisfied. So can we take it to another level? But understand it's not going to come easy. That target on our back gets even bigger and bigger and bigger. But we've always got to be the hunters, not the hunted. And we need the fans to understand that every team that we face this season, we are going to get their greatest effort, because we're the Ithaca Bombers, because we have so much great tradition, and because we're the reigning Liberty League champions. So just really, I'm challenging those fans to be behind us even more, even in those moments of adversity. That's when we need you the most. That's when we need to step up the most as a team and as coaches. But we need you fans to be louder than ever when things aren't going our way.
Great.
Coach, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hit us.
All right. So being a part of the Park School and being a part of the student media team, what has been the greatest takeaway for you guys? Obviously, the experience speaks for itself, but what have you learned about this job as you guys transition from college students to professional, right? Which many of you have done, calling minor league baseball games or other opportunities in the summertime. But what do you guys recognize as some of the things that you have to work on and about this business that you maybe didn't know your freshman year?
I think, one, that when you talk to players and coaches, you have to ask the tough questions, but you have to build relationships with them first. I think that especially at a school like right here, a D3 school, the coaches and the players care about this. So if we show that we care, they're going to help us bring it to life. And I think that every sport matters, and you have to take all the opportunities that are given.
Yeah, similar place to Cam. I mean, you specifically have taught me, don't ask stupid questions. Or at least be very careful how I frame
What
them.
happened?
I asked you something bad, and you almost didn't talk to me for a week. It's on
Was
me.
it at halftime?
Yeah, it was at
I
halftime.
black out sometimes.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, it was my bad. It's all good. But more to the actual point, yeah, there is such an insane amount of love here. When you enter the industry, a lot of people will tell you that a lot of players, specifically in football, are doing it because it's such a great opportunity, not necessarily because they love the game. But here in D3 football, everyone here is here because they love to play and they want to do the best that they possibly can, and that is something very special, to find the love of the game in everyone else, and it allows us to be so very positive. Like we've gotten some notes that like maybe we cover things sometimes we get noted that we're too nice, sometimes we can be a little too positive, but with a team like this, it's really hard not to be.
You'd be critical of me.
Of you, yeah.
That's good. When it comes
We're
down
critical
to it,
sometimes, yeah.
my fault,
Yeah.
right? Don't put it on those players. Put it on me.
Okay.
But
Right.
we also can't. What we care about a lot with all the coaches here, especially you, we can't do our job unless the players walk over after practice, sit down for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best part of the job.
Yeah.
Right now, just like, we're
Save
chatting
that
about football.
negativity for when you guys are on first take, all right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Or in
Exactly.
the booth up there. I'm very far away, so if I can,
It might come
Yeah.
back to us, though.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're
Yeah,
not
he's right.
critical.
The biggest
your
thing is
dad's
gratitude.
listening, he'll know.
Yeah.
Oh, my dad
Oh,
is
yeah.
listening. He's
Oh, yeah.
always listening. He was in the radio business for 40 years, so you guys know that. All right, last question here.
All right.
What are you looking for? I'll ask you, Cam. What are you looking for? What do you want to see out of our offense this year? What are you most excited about? What would you like to see us do a little bit better offensively?
Yeah, Cam.
Okay, yeah.
You cover us, man. Nobody
Yeah.
sees us more than you.
I think the big thing too is to unleash Colin a little bit more. I think it was good the first few games being able to young quarterback run the ball, kind of get him into his rhythm. But I think we saw against Cortland, if Colin has to, when you're down, he can air out the ball. So I think take those risks, still be creative, and but I also think at the same time balancing, not shading away from the run. But I think the number one thing is unleashing Colin, because the weapons at receiver, I personally think Lang's going to have an unbelievable year. I think his size and speed is unbelievable. You pair him with Matos, Klein, Ben Marinaccio. I think the pass catchers, I don't think there's 2-3 corners that can line up against this team throughout the Liberty League.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right on. And it's going to be up to them. We're going to put the ball in their hands and see what they can do with it.
Pumped up.
What about defensively, Parker? What are the things that you're looking forward to seeing if these Mad Dogs can step up to the challenge, especially after losing guys like Derek Sluka and Ben Stola, and Tamir Rouser and Jordan Sosa? Give me some things that you're looking for defensively.
This guy's a pro. This is exactly the question I would ask.
That you're just maybe concerned about, or just want to find out who's going to be up for the challenge.
We gotta switch. I might have to grab a clipboard. Man, there's a lot that I'm looking forward to. Specifically, we saw some of the young guys come on really, really strong last year. Aiden Perry at DT, one of the guys that I was specifically looking at. I want to see how this group of veterans takes their leadership role and how they influence a lot of these younger guys, because they lost, I think, all their captains. Yeah, so it's a new group of leadership. We talked to Tommy, we talked to Danny, who are going to do a great job. Owen's coming back from injury. They're all going to do a good job leading, but it's a question of who picks up those extra pieces, because you've got a very young defensive line against the conference in D3 football with some of the best rushing attacks in all of Division 3. So it comes down to how well are they going to be able to fit the run? How well are they going to be able to identify the biggest threats on the field? I'm excited to see how they do it, but I'd be lying if I said I'm not concerned off the jump, because these are guys that I haven't seen do it yet, but I'm excited to see them try.
For sure. Now we're ready for the challenge. I think those guys.
I love those questions. That was awesome.
That was awesome. I was a little scared, but yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll be back again for another episode of Bomber Football Podcast. All right, we're gonna kick it back to Toby Devore and those guys in the studio. Go Bombers.